But yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna get started. Hello. So Hassa, would you mind giving us just a brief intro description of yourself? So your name, your year, your major.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Hassana Valley. I'm in my fourth year at McGill. I'm currently in cognitive science with a concentration in neuroscience and a minor in interdisciplinary life sciences. That's a mouthful. I think that was what you asked.
That's good. Okay.
Okay. Moving on. What scholarship did you apply for, and can you please give us a brief description of it?
Yeah, so I believe the name of the scholarship that I applied for was the Biology Summer Research Award. Um, it's basically an award that's given, at least specifically that year, it was given from the Anti-Black Racism Plan's funding, and it was specifically for BIPOC, like students and individuals. It's a 15-week summer research opportunity. You get to pick through the three major streams within biology. You get to choose a professor that you would like to do research with. Sometimes you get a top choice, sometimes you don't. I happen to. But you do get three options and you're guaranteed to be matched with one of those three for 15 weeks over the summer.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
And so for you, how did you find out about the scholarship?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember hearing it twice. I don't remember when it caught my attention. I spoke with Antoine, who's the Black Affairs student liaison. And he was the one who had given a quick rundown of the different scholarships that he was putting out that he wanted for me to share through my network. And then I remember hearing about it at an info session that was held with other biology professors. I think it was just posted on the McGill website, and it was just a call, an info session, and you could ask whatever you wanted to ask. And I knew that Antoine was going to be there, and he's very student friendly, so I was I'll go and ask. And they were offering a number of the same scholarships to different people as well.
Okay. And can you tell us what the application process was like? What references did they require? Did you have to write an essay? And yeah, how was your overall experience with it?
Yeah, it was honestly really simple. I feel I didn't even try to get the scholarship, but it was very, very accessible. You just had to write one page of why you feel that you would benefit from this internship, and a little bit about your background, because it was specifically for BIPOC individuals before they started to consider other students. And so, yeah, it was one page. It wasn't a very long application process. I remember writing it, I sat down, wrote it in an hour. I could have sent it to Antoine to check it. He was very down to do that. I did not. And there was no need for any sort of references. And I don't think I recall a real application form. It was just basic information of I think I submitted a transcript actually, but it was very basic information, personal information of who you are as an individual, and then there was just that essay that was the main component of it.
Okay, thank you.
And so you already kind of touched on this. You said you started maybe an hour before. Was there more thinking of it? Was there any preparation stuff, any time that you needed to take to prepare to apply for it?
No. I didn't start an hour before. I said it just took me an hour to
Okay.
actually do.
Sorry.
And before is cutting it very
really good
close.
clarification.
Which is honestly, I'm correcting you, it's not something that I would do. But yeah, so I honestly no preparation. It was very much just who you are, what your life is as a person. It didn't take, I guess the preparation could have been the fact that I was already a student and that I had credits on my transcript and classes that would make sense within biology. I'm in art sci, so art sci students were also eligible to apply. It was primarily it's very science heavy, obviously, biology, but otherwise there was no real preparation that I did for it. It was just a shot in the dark, and it just happened to land. So
Nice.
Okay, that's really nice. And in your opinion, what are the key factors that you think the scholarship committee looked for in successful scholarship applicants? And going along with that, was the scholarship geared towards merit, academic performance? I know you mentioned you had to submit your transcript, or was it community involvement? What exactly are they looking for?
I'm sorry, I forgot the first part of the question.
Oh, the first part of the question was, in your opinion, what do you think the key factors that the scholarship committee looked for in successful applicants?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not on the scholarship committee, so I'm not too sure specifically what they were looking for. I know they wanted a good essay for sure. That's one thing that they heavily emphasized. They wanted it to just like be comprehensive. And that essay is also where you like make a choice of the professors that you would want to like research under. So they also wanted to see that sort of like motivation almost, and like that reasoning behind why, and that like sort of passion a little for why you wanted to study with those professors. They also wanted to know like how the scholarship would change, like how it would impact you, so why you were like worthy of like having the scholarship. So that's, yeah, the essay really was like a big component. They just really wanted you to like advocate for yourself. So yeah, so like don't be afraid to like toot your own horn and just be like, I'm great. We had to submit a transcript. I know there were a lot of questions that came about GPAs within the information session. It is something that does factor into it naturally. If you have like many applicants, you have to distinguish them objectively some way. But I wasn't too stressed about my GPA being too low, and I don't think anyone else was after that information session. It wasn't the only thing that they were looking at. It was very much the essay in hand with your GPA. So yeah, so it's partly merit, but more so like your story, like where, like how well you are able to argue for why you deserve a scholarship over others.
Okay, thank you.
Makes sense. Great. So now I'm gonna kind of transition into asking some more opinion-based questions, or ones that are just maybe more specific to your experience. So the first question that I'll ask is, in your opinion, what are the key factors that the scholarship committees are actually, maybe you've touched on that a little bit already, so maybe we'll transition to the next question, which is just to tell us about your experience with the application process, and then what strategies did you use to stand out among other applicants?
I find that I have a very unique background story. I've like moved around like a lot in life. Um, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people focus very much on like academics and sort of pushing for, I've taken this class, I've done so great in this, I have this experience, this like professional work experience, and they don't realize that in your life experiences and like with your identity, you have a lot of experiences that you have gone through and a lot of skills that you've developed just by existing and being like a Black woman, right? And so I found that I like really played to that a little. Like I really tried to like include that within my application. We go to school where like everyone must be doing great. For the most part, most people are doing pretty well like with their grades. So you really do want non-professional experiences to also stand out. And extracurriculars like obviously like help a lot too. So that's really what I personally did in my application. And I usually do that. So, and I usually get my things. So like, it must be working. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you. I know you said like your application was pretty successful, and from what it sounds like, but what helpful tips or advice would you give to someone looking to apply for the scholarship, or what would you personally have done or changed differently?
Okay, I'll answer the second question first. Maybe I would have applied earlier. I really did not need to just like take an hour. Like I could have given it more attention, I find at the time. I just didn't have like the capacity to. And I know that there were a lot of other people who were like applying for scholarships and who applied to similar scholarships who were like very, very stressed. So maybe it was a good thing I was busy. I don't know. But I did not give it like the full attention that it might have needed. And it just happened to be that like it still ended up being successful, but I was sort of like I didn't submit it like, yep, I got that, right? So I think just giving it like extra time and devoting more time to it and accepting the help of having someone else review the essay, I think would have been like a good thing. Overall tips, this sounds so generic. I feel like everyone's gonna say this, but literally just apply. Like I did it. I did it and I submitted it and I wasn't like 100% sure that like it would stick, and it did. but it was just, I kid you not, an hour. I sat there, wrote it out, and it worked. And there wasn't any sort of like specific guideline on how to write your essay or anything like that. So I think like everyone brings their own unique perspectives to things. And so just apply and see, like, it's one or two professors who are really reading it, and then there's like meeting to discuss. It's like not the end of the world if it's like the worst piece of writing ever. So I would say just apply, put what you have on paper, and very much try to tie it into your what makes you different, which is like your identity, your personal experiences, not necessarily your grades or your courses, because they can see that from a transcript.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then the last question that we have for you is just to ask, how do you think that scholarship providers and maybe committees could better support and encourage BIPOC students in pursuing their academic and professional goals?
Well, we could sit here all day. I think I'm gonna try to not make it about our university, but our university sometimes has a lot of opportunities at very key peak moments, right? When it's like, when the time feels right, that's when they sort of put it out there, and it's like, it's obviously like in response to certain like a certain climate. I think that first making it so that it's not in response to certain like incidents or like global like affairs would be very nice to sort of see scholarships that don't come from sort of like tragedy or like, I don't know, like it doesn't have to be a big event that happens in the world for that to be a response that now we're going to support Black students, or now we're going to support BIPOC students. And I find that it's always like the case, like it's always a reaction. So I think making those scholarships available and having that thought come to you before, you know what I mean, like beforehand, like before there's a tragedy and you're like, now we have to support our Black students. And I don't think it's something that should be released during Black History Month either. I think it can be released just as any other like scholarship, any other students, like they can just make those opportunities available for BIPOC students. I think they can very much work with student groups and with student unions and with professors to sort of publicize the scholarships a lot more. Like I just happened to find the scholarship. It wasn't like it was in my face and I was forced to apply. It wasn't like, I just happened to be that I was reached out to share it within my network. And then I happened to like see it again, like on a random McGill website, which is like not very accessible. The website itself is not accessible, but that's a different discussion. And so, yeah, so publicizing it, making sure that actually reaches students. It's one thing to offer and be like, we're so great that we're offering these scholarships, and nothing to actually reach the students that you want to reach. Because you also find that like what they do is if BIPOC students don't apply, they just give it to anyone else who applies, really. And there's not many BIPOC students, but there's enough that the application, those applications can come in and those awards can be handed out. And so I think publicizing those and like using student groups, student networks, and professors like within individual classes to sort of like poach those students to apply, rather than just offering it to say that you did it.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that comprehensive answer. And Chidi, do you have any parting thoughts, anything you want to ask?
I think I'm good. I will maybe I'll just say a general reminder to everyone of our viewers. Reminder that we'll be adding this scholarship to the database for easier access, and then also a link to the recording of this interview. And I believe that for this year, the deadline to apply is either March 6th or 16th, or it's in March, sometime in March. We'll have it all on the database there, but yeah, apply.
So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us, and really hope you enjoy your reading break, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I hope it helps.
For sure. Okay, yeah.